Support for Radio Friends comes from La Brunerie Financial, where they work to ensure a lifetime of financial security for people from all walks of life, from investment services to retirement plans. If you're looking for a trustworthy company that has the experience and knowledge to put your interests first, contact La Brunerie Financial, a community-based investment counseling firm since 1966. Learn more at labrunerie.com or by calling 573-449-5313. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on this Monday, November the 19th. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and I have John Howe with us today. John, you may remember, he's been on this program several times. He's written a book called The Foolish Corner. It was published last January, 2017.
Yep.
And he is chair of the Department of Finance at the University of Missouri. So you got a lot of credentials there. Good to have you with us.
Well, thanks. John. Great. A pleasure to be back, Paul. Thank
today, you. We were going to talk about fooling ourselves over the holidays.
Yeah, this is Monday before Thanksgiving, and so I started thinking about what kind of cognitive biases and other sorts of things might be relevant to the holidays. And I stumbled across a report from the National Institutes of Health that says something that I think none of us are going to be surprised by, and that is that people underreport unhealthy behaviors over the holidays. For example, eating is the one that overeating.
Yeah, we tend to eat, and we say, well, it's just the holidays, we can have a little extra here and there.
Right. We do have a number of rationalizations for that, and they actually overreport things that are perceived to be healthy, like maybe the walk they took wasn't really 2 miles, maybe it was 1 mile, that sort of thing. So there's this kind of, and the researchers in this of this report call this the social desirability bias. And
okay, I got one question for you.
Okay.
You say that we underreport our unhealthy activities and overreport our healthy activities. How do these researchers know that if we're underreporting and overreporting?
No, that's a good question. So they have to have some objective way of knowing how much. So in some cases, for example, they provide all the food for you to eat, and then they ask you not to throw any away, and then they know what's left, and there's not very much left, even though what you self-report.
Okay,
there's a lot left.
They're not going just on what you're telling them.
No. In fact, you have to have a benchmark, for under or over reporting. So, and then basically the social desirability bias is nothing but common sense, and that is that we often we want to present ourselves to the world in a very positive light. So we report things out to surveyors or polls and so forth in that way.
Okay.
So, and in particular, I'm focusing as we come up on the holiday season, eating is an obvious case of this. And so it leads me to the thought that if we're reporting it outward, what are we reporting inward? That what are we telling ourselves? We are in some sense deceiving others, fooling others in reporting what we're doing. And then there's kind of the question of, well, are we also deceiving ourselves?
Probably we are.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And I think we're all guilty of that. We say if you eat a little bit of extra over the holidays, you say, oh, well, it's the holidays, I can justify it, and I'll watch it after the holidays are over, or I'll exercise a little bit more.
Absolutely. And in fact, it's a very human thing to discount the future a whole lot. So you say, I'm going to overeat today, but I'll go to the gym tomorrow, or I'll start going to the gym on January 1st or 2nd or whatever. And so as humans, we tend to discount the future a great deal.
So how do we make ourselves become more realistic with everything?
Well, there are a couple of approaches. One of my favorite is simply to go with a public claim of how you're going to behave. So first of all, I might just say we're friends, and I might say, Paul, I'm not going to overeat on Thursday, Thanksgiving. I'm just going to have one serving of everything. And I make this declaration to you, and then afterwards I'm kind of accountable to you. But there are also ways you can go more public with it. There are websites where you can post it. And so a broad audience is seeing your commitment to eating healthily over Thanksgiving, this upcoming holiday anyway. And to make it even worse, in some cases, some of these websites, you can make a pledge that if you violate, like if you overeat, for example, if you violate the thing you're trying to accomplish, that you will make a donation to a charity you do not like.
Oh.
And so really trying to line up the incentives to get this right. So
Or you could say our political party you don't like.
Yep. Well, that would be exactly right. So, and
Right.
I don't want to touch which one that might
no,
be.
we won't go with that.
No, we won't
But
go
that
there.
would-
But yeah, absolutely.
That would be a good way.
You know, if
that would be.
you just say, if I overeat, I'm going to give X dollars to this party, and
Yeah.
everybody knows you don't like that party. You've got a strong incentive
to not overeat.
behave well.
Okay,
Right.
as long as you're being honest. So we're talking about food, but what about money over the holidays too?
Well, money is an interesting. First of all, it's always fraught with emotional connection. One fact that I'd like to slip in as we begin this very extended holiday season for basically the next month and a half or so, is that there's very solid psychological evidence that people actually get more pleasure spending money on gifts for other people than spending money on themselves. So the holiday season is a great chance to do that. Of course, we have a natural venues, natural excuses for giving gifts to people.
And if you want to feel good about something, there are wonderful organizations that you can make donations to for the holidays. Or one that comes to mind is a Voluntary Action Center, where you can adopt a family from a needy family from the Voluntary Action Center and buy gifts for them. You don't know them, you won't meet them, but you're giving to somebody who needs instead of just giving to someone who really doesn't need.
I agree with that. And the other thing I like about that particular one is you're buying specific articles that for specific people. Again, you don't know the people, but you're not just kind of giving money and wondering how it's going to be spent. You know, someone says, I want a set of roller skates or something, and that's what they get. So that's a very rewarding, even without knowing the people, that's very rewarding.
And
absolutely.
That's a good way. And if you've got a lot of people on your list that really don't need things for Christmas, you can buy in their name and then give them a card and say, I bought a gift for a family at Voluntary Action Center in your name.
Absolutely.
And you're doing a double good there.
So to get back to the money, as we begin to wind down here a little bit, a lot of this social desirability bias is related to confirmation bias, and we've talked about this on previous shows. A confirmation bias is the tendency for us to remember things that put ourselves in a good light to ourselves, and to ignore things that are kind of contrary to views that we don't want to know. So we might remember the one breakfast over the Thanksgiving weekend where we didn't overeat, and we might tend to forget the 3 or 4 meals where we substantially overate. Mm-hmm. So confirmation bias is important in eating. It's important, though, in finances as well. I mean, are we really taking an objective look at the financial decisions we've made? Because, again, we're going to tend to remember the good ones. And I have friends who tell me about all the good trades they've made in the stock market, and I never seem to hear about any bad trades, and I assume there are some there.
Okay. I tell you what, if you want to read more about this would make a nice Christmas gift for somebody. It's called The Foolish Corner. It's available where, John?
It's available on Amazon, both in hard print, and which will get to you a day or two later, or it's also in ebook form.
Okay. It's called The Foolish Corner by John Howe, who is a chair, Department of Finance at University of Missouri. John, please come back again.
I would be delighted.
In 2019. Oh my
gosh.
Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
It's almost here.
Right.
All right, tomorrow.
I would be happy to do that.
We'll see you tomorrow. Drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.